All right, folks, it's that time of year again, and what better way to show that you're grateful than showing that your grates are full. So follow us on this episode, and we'll show you how to make your very own Thanksgiving on your backyard pit boss.
Have you ever wondered how to get the most out of your pit boss? Welcome to Fully Loaded, where I teach you how to unlock the full potential of your pit boss grill. Learn new recipes and pick up strategies to cook full meals. Load those grills to the max and unleash flavor like never before with expert tips and tricks. Pit Boss Fully Loaded is your ultimate grilling guide.
All right, guys, on today's episode, we're going to be cooking a turkey using our turkey brine bucket kit. We're going to be making a traditional spiral cut ham with our very own apple cider glaze, a sweet potato au gratin, an herb chorizo stuffing, and for dessert, we're going to be doing a peach cobbler. First things first, let's move right into our turkey bucket kit and its contents. It's like how you see, contents is our brine kit. Comes with the brine powder, comes with your recipe card, and the seasoning that's going to go on the outside of your rub, and a bag that your turkey is going to go in. It also comes with a 20-pound bag of apple pellets that's going to fuel your cook. A big thanks to Honeysuckle White for providing our turkey for us today. Now we're going to move right into unpackaging our bird, removing the giblets and the neck, and then we're going to dry it really good, and we're going to rub it with the seasoning packet that came with our brine kit. Remove the neck bone, the hearts and giblets. I'm also going to remove this thermometer because we're going to be using our probes on our pit boss to determine our internal temperature. I'm just going to remove the plastic truss. Remove the tail. Now we removed all the excess liquid. Remove our pan out of the way. Just gonna give it a little once over, pat it dry. Then we're just gonna baste it with a little bit of avocado oil, and we're gonna use the contents, the seasoning packet that came with our brine kit. Trim off any extra skin or fat. I always like to remove this big chunk of skin right here. There we go. Now that we're at this stage with our turkey, we're going to go ahead and brine it. In the instructions, it does say to brine your bird for a half an hour to an hour per pound. This is about a 16-pound bird. We're going to let it go for all 16 hours. So, what you got is this fancy turkey bag with a Ziploc on it. Open it up all the way. We're going to place this right in our bucket. We're going to lower our bird into this bucket breast side down. Just like so. To help speed process up, I've already mixed our brine. The recipe is as follows. You take 4 cups of water with the seasoning packet and you dissolve that and you pour that over 4 quarts of ice water. It should cool it down to about 40 degrees so you can use the brine nearly immediately. Here's the brine. Just gonna pour that right over the top. Give it a nice little swirl so all the herbs and spices go in there. Just like so. Now you're gonna notice you're gonna wanna seal your bag about 2/3 of the way. And you're gonna wanna press out as much as the air as possible, so as much of the surface area of the turkey is being exposed to the brine. Once you get about right there, you just seal it off. about what you're going to be looking for. We're just going to store this in the fridge for the next 16 hours. We're going to move right into our next step. For safety measures, while our other bird brines, we got one that's ready to rock and roll. Same situation. In the bag, 16 hours. Let's get her unpackaged, dry it off, and we're going to season it. All right, there we go. I'm just going to place its wings underneath the back. So it'll expose the wing for a more even cook. I'm just going to pat it dry. Our turkey seasoning kit from our kit. I'm just going to open this up and place it in our shaker. That way we can get a nice even seasoning. Just going to coat our bird with a nice layer of oil. Not too much. A little bit goes a long way. There you have it. Now we're ready to move right onto the smoker. We're going to be pushing at about 275 degrees, and we're going to shoot for an internal temperature of about 160 degrees. All right. When placing your probe in your bird, you're going to want to go in the thickest part of the breast, but not touching the breastbone. That won't give you an accurate temperature. A roasting pan or directly on the rack, I prefer to use a roasting pan. That way I can rotate the bird as I go so it cooks even and also colors evenly. Alright guys, now it's time to move into our spiral cut ham. You can find one of these hams at any of your local retailers, except we're not going to be using this glaze. So let's unpackage our ham, and we're going to remove it of all the juices that's inside of the packaging because we have our very own apple cider glaze. I've already made this and it's prepared, but it's a mixture of brown sugar, cider vinegar, apple cider, and a little bit of honey mustard. Now that we've gotten most of the juices and all that stuff off of it, it's going to remain in this pan. We're going to move it to our roasting pan. Go ahead and get this one out of the way. Now this is right around two cups of glaze. You don't have to utilize all of it. What I like to do is I'll coat the ham and let it gather in the bottom of the pan, and as the cooking process or reheat process takes place, you can take a spoon or a brush and you can baste your ham further. Look at that. Really basic reheat on a spiral cut ham. It's already fully cooked and cured, so we're just gonna reheat to about 140 degrees internal temperature before we remove it from the grill. Place it. Again, pro placement, you're looking for one of the thicker parts of the ham without it touching the bone to get an accurate temperature. All right, guys, before we move into our next menu item that we're going to be cooking for our Thanksgiving, we're utilizing our 1600 Pro Series Elite unit available at Lowe's. Keep an eye out for the new DX unit that is also going to be available at Lowe's for all of your Thanksgiving needs. Now we're going to be moving into our dessert side of things. Peach Cobbler, it's so easy to make, and you can make it beforehand and you can let it sit at room temperature and you can just barely reheat it and serve it with ice cream once everybody's stuffed. So moving into this, the first step when making a cobbler in a cast iron that I had found is that you put your butter inside of your cast iron. We're going to place it on the grill and let the cast iron slightly preheat while we make the batter. And so I just have about a half a cup of butter here, and we're just going to place this on the grill. While that preheats, we're just gonna make our batter. So we have our vanilla and milk in one container here. Have about 1 cup of sugar. Got 3/4 cup of flour, about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We're just gonna whisk that together to where it's nice and uniform. Real quick, fast, and simple like that. You got a nice uniform mixture. All right, now that our batter's ready, our butter's probably just about perfectly melted. There we go. Now that your butter's melted, we're gonna pour this batter in. And we're not going to stir it or move it around or nothing. We're just going to pour it in just like so. You got that in there. Here we have about 1 pound of canned peaches. It's been drained. This is by weight. It's nearly 2 cans of peaches. You probably can force in all the peaches if you'd like. And again, just put it in there. You don't have to worry about stirring it or moving it around. Just like so. Give it a nice little gentle shake like so, and we're gonna go right back on the grill. Keep in mind all 3 of our sides on our 1600 are gonna be prepared at 325 degrees. All right, guys, now we're moving into our sweet potato au gratin this evening. What I have here is about 3 pounds of sweet potatoes or sweet garnet yams. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna coat them evenly with a little bit of oil, and we're gonna bake them directly on the upper rack of our pit boss. Don't need a whole lot of oil, just enough to kind of coat. Now that we got our sweet potatoes nice and evenly coated with oil, we're gonna move right onto the upper rack of our 1600. Cook time on potatoes depends on the size. Really what you're looking for is where you can take a wooden skewer and you're looking for it to be soft all the way through before you remove them and allow them to rest before the next step of the process. All right, guys, it's been about 20 minutes. We're gonna have a look at our sweet potatoes. We're gonna check them with this probe to see if they're ready. It goes all the way in and comes right back out, nice and smooth, ready to come out for the rest. Now we can let our sweet potatoes rest for about 15 minutes before we can peel them. We're gonna slice them and move right into our potatoes au gratin. All right guys, it's been right at about 40 minutes. Our cobbler is getting ready to come off and we can set that off to the side. We're gonna move right into our last two sides. Yeah. There you have it, we'll just let that rest. Serve it with a scoop of vanilla ice cream later. Should hit the spot. All right guys, now we're gonna finish up our sweet potato au gratin. We let our sweet potatoes cool to room temperature. All we're gonna do is we're gonna peel them, slice them, and we're gonna move on from there. We're gonna add our heavy cream, maple syrup, topped with some pecans. We're gonna bake it off with some marshmallows on top. We'll see how it comes out. Notice how we're making all this stuff all at one time. You know, when you have a lot of company, sometimes you can make some of these things in steps. And so, you know, maybe the day before Thanksgiving, you can roast your potatoes off and even cool them in the refrigerator before you decide to peel them and put everything together the following day. The way it just kind of takes the pressure off. That's another great thing about some of these recipes that we provide. It gives you an opportunity to get outside of the house and not be so traditional and have to do everything in the house, being elbow to elbow. You can get outside, have your space, and you can go back and forth and socialize between all your family members. And that's another thing too. Not only is it a grill and a smoker, but you can use it as a convenient oven outside, so you're not having to be so pressured to use everything inside. You can go outside, use your grill, go back inside, hold things warm in your own oven while you're cooking other things outside. All right, now that we have our potatoes sliced and we have them layered in our pan like so, again, that's about 3 pounds of cooked garnet yams. I got about 1.5 cups of heavy cream that we're just gonna pour right on in here. Got about 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup we're just gonna pour right over the top of here. A little bit of salt and pepper right over the top. Got about 1/2 cup of chopped pecans we're gonna put right over the top. Now we're gonna pop this back in our Pit Boss grill at 325 degrees. We're gonna probably between about 15 and 20 minutes. What you're gonna be looking for is that your cream is reduced and the bubbles are about a dime size. And so we're gonna go ahead and fire this. Once it's about halfway, we'll top it with some marshmallows and let that melt, and then that will conclude this dish. Right there. All right, now it's time to move on to my favorite item on the Thanksgiving menu. Is stuffing. I did put a twist on this particular stuffing. So what we are starting with is a 14-ounce loaf of bread that has been dried overnight, so it's crunchy like a crouton. Here what I have is 1 pound of chorizo. It's been cooked off with 1 cup each of carrot, celery, and onion, a couple of tablespoons of garlic. And then here's what I got is about 1/2 ounce of chopped oregano and 1/4 cup of chopped parsley. We're gonna add that here. Then of course, what's a good Pit Boss stuffing without using one of their signature spices? Maple chipotle, we're gonna go with about 3 tablespoons. Right in here like so. We're gonna add our chorizo and vegetable love. This is warm, by the way. This is gonna speed up your cooking process on your stuffing. Here we have about 3.5 cups of chicken stock. We're gonna add that too. All right, now that we're at this point, we're just gonna kind of fold this stuff together and let all the ingredients redistribute. Keep in mind, you don't have to use chorizo if you don't like. You can use cooked bratwurst, bacon, any other type of meat that you would like to elevate your stuffing, different herb combinations, things of that such. And then also keep in mind, with the Pit Boss seasoning that I'm using, there's really no need to add any more salt to this recipe. So we'll just kind of fold that in like so. Now our next step, we're gonna put it right back in our baking dish. We're gonna place it on the grill, maybe 15-20 minutes max. We'll be ready to dig right in. All right, just gonna give it a nice little shake, make sure it's nice and even. Now we just fired on our upper rack of our Pit Boss, 325 degrees. Here we go. All right, finishing touches on our sweet potato au gratin. Let's top it with our marshmallows and pop it right on in. Ooh, yeah. So as you can see, this is the size bubbles that you're looking. The cream sauce is nice and reduced. So now we're just gonna garnish it with our marshmallows. Pop that right back on the grill to where it gets nice and melty, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, we're currently up to temperature on our ham. Let's go ahead and pull that. We're gonna give it its final glaze, and we'll be ready to go. Look at that, guys. You can use a basting brush if you like. I particularly like using a spoon. But look at that, guys. And there you have it, an apple cider glazed spiral cut ham. All right, we're finally reaching our temperature on our turkey. We're at about 155 degrees. We're gonna pull and allow this to rest. There you have it, folks, Thanksgiving bird. Cook time, you're looking at about 2.5 to 3 hours on this particular bird. All right, guys, it's the final steps of our Thanksgiving meal. Sweet potato au gratin, chorizo stuffing. Right about there. All right. And there you have it, folks. Thanksgiving meal right off your Pit Boss grill in your backyard. Remember to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments below on what you would like to see in future episodes. Have a great one, guys.